The Fresh Toones Music Show is underwritten by the Animation Workshop at Animated Studio, providing animation instruction since 1993. Please visit their website at animatedstudio.com.
Where treasures are, that's where your heart lies. What you value most will occupy your mind's eye.
Welcome to the Fresh Toones Show. My name is Dave Paltz, and the theme of today's show is called Greed. It seems like a good time in our nation's history to start to look at exactly where the United States stands. And we have a president who's going to hold Ukraine at ransom for their mineral rights. And it'll be interesting just how many Americans sign on to this. We know most of that is baloney. Yeah, the guy's greedy. It'll be more interesting to find out how many Americans go along with it. I'm going to start out today's show with a song that I wrote called Greed. And I'm going to share a little bit of a campaign speech that Donald Trump gave before the election. It might have been even before the 2016 election. And he clearly stated what he's about. And it's quite telling maybe about where the American people are. So here we go. Greed.
It's hard for me to turn down money because that's not what I've done in my whole life. I grab and grab and grab. You know, I get greedy. I want money. Now I'll tell you what we're going to do, right? We get greedy, right? Now we're going to get greedy for the United States. We're going to grab and grab and grab. We're going to bring in so much money and so much everything. We're going to make America great again, folks. I'm telling you, we're going to make America great again.
Greed can kill you faster than a bullet. Greed will grab you right by the throat. Greed will take you off on tangents. Drive a stake right through your heart. Yes, drive a stake right through your heart. Though she thirsts for blood and treasure, she will never find her fill. Her darkness will forever blind you. Be your closest friend. Yes, cold will be your closest friend. The light will strive to find you, but greed will bar your eyes. Thought that you had found the answer, but greed has left you numb. You've forgotten from whence you've come. As you beg to once more see the sun, but greed rarely releases anyone. So take this time before you fall to see and love just where you are. Just smile and see that's what you want to be. To stand up and just say no to greed. can give our love for free, then love will let us be. Then love will let us be. Then love will let us be. Then love will let us be.
Well, greed is certainly a driving force for a lot of folks. Most folks live day to day and just try to enjoy their family and friends and have a good time on this short ride we have here on this planet. But there are others that are just consumed with this idea of getting as much as they can, which is really going to be sad for them because that can never be satiated, no matter how much they're glorified or admired for all the money they have and possessions. It's really not going to bring them much joy. This next song is called Did You Ever Ask Why? And I just do a little wandering through all the scams and really terrible things that greed has driven some folks to be pretty immoral and pretty ruthless. We can go back to tobacco and how long they knew that it caused cancer and how they danced around that for years and years, and how many millions had to die from lung cancer. And that's just one of them. They're coming right along behind them. You know, they had the Great Recession in 2007 after they had scammed all these people that were really taken advantage of because they didn't understand the whole mortgage process, and the banks had a heyday. We paid for that one. There's more coming. This song is called Did You Ever Ask Why?
Did you ever ask why? How the opioid crisis arrived with all its pain? It seems insane. It's greed, folks. Yes, it's greed. Did you ever ask why? What caused the Great Recession? Who allowed the bank's deception? And did we learn our lesson? It's greed, folks. Yes, it's greed. Why so much heartlessness towards others? Why? In their empty lies that they've wrought. What makes their loving prophets roll their eyes as they roll within their graves? Did you ever ask why? Millions had to die from smoking, smiling faces as folks were choking. So many lives were broken. It's greed, folks. Yes, it's greed. Did you ever ask why? Some just watched as their planet died, why they had no time to hear the children's cries. It's greed, folks. Yes, it's greed. Why so much heartlessness towards others? Why? In their empty lies that they've wrought. What makes their loving prophets roll their eyes as they roll within their graves? Did you ever ask why? Did you ever ask why? Did you ever ask why?
Well, that song always gets me going and gets me swaying, and gets me clapping my hands, and I love the sweet little voices I added singing so sweetly. Do-do-do. The voices are my own. Total contrast to what the subject matter of that song is and how dark it is. All these songs are produced up in my attic and with a little desktop and microphone and guitar and keyboard. So I don't have anybody else involved with these recordings. Not making any excuses. That's just how I've been doing things. Try to keep things pure. Try not to get things overworked. They're kind of rough, but they're saying what I want to say. One of the dangers of greed is that you can become self-imprisoned. And it's the same thing with our looks or our material wealth. We can become self-imprisoned in those things that we surround ourselves with and in some ways bury ourselves in. This song is called Self-Imprisonment.
We sit behind the prison doors, the ones we've made, no one else. We seek reassurance from the tribes. They smile and laugh, say, come right inside. We primp and comb our fine hairdos. We prance and promenade and say, howdy do. With the crowd impressed, we strut some more. And the curtain falls and says, that's all. Self-imprisonment, who will choose it? Self-imprisonment, say no to it. Self-imprisonment, and don't do it. Release yourself, take wing. So let us drop the foolish trappings of made-up makeup lies that hide the ones that strive to foster, to release the one that lies within. Self-imprisonment, who would choose it? Self-imprisonment, say no to it. Self-imprisonment, and don't do it. Release yourself, take a wing. Release yourself, take a wing.
Well, if we ever do become self-imprisoned, there's often a whisper, a dark whisper that tells us it's okay, it's just human nature, get what you can get, don't care about other folks. That's dark whisper speaking. It's certainly not an enlightening voice. The thing about dark whispers is once it becomes all-consuming, it might actually end up driving you insane because the person that you've become listening to the dark whispers is really ugly and you no longer want to be part of. So you try to find some release from the anxiety, knowing that maybe you could have done things better, maybe been a little kinder to other people. So be very careful of those dark whispers that reassure you it's okay, everybody else is doing it. Dark whisper. It whispers in the dark, it howls through the night, creeps the tunnels in your mind, a vile smile when it finds a way to lure you from the light, direct and lead you out of sight. If they can do it, you can too. Behold the riches there for you. You'd be a fool not to partake. What harm could come to you? You're not a villain, just doing what? It's what you have to do. Some say it's wicked deemery, others say that it's just a way. Some say it's a sweet vocation to let darkness have its say. We mustn't call it evil or nefarious or sin. It's just your human nature, says Dark Whisper with a grin. For malignant years I sat, until I grew and overcame. My whispers overtook, and left you half insane. Well, those dark whispers seem to be directing a lot of behavior in this country today. This song is called Dark Force.
There's a dark force funded by the Koch brothers. There's a dark force sponsored by the NRA. There's a dark force of greedy, heartless corporations. There's a dark force of Bible-thumping thieves. And the emperor's in the White House. There's a dark force with stormtroopers on the march. There's a dark force floating around in Congress, grabbing all the money that they can. Our light will shine when we can show our love and give it voice. There's a dark force empowered by black robes. There's a dark force saying corporations are people too. There's a dark force from bowing down to dark money. There's a dark force, and we're the sacrificial lambs. There's a dark force, but we can counter it. There's a dark force, and we must resist. There's a dark force, and there always has been. There's a dark force, but there's a light that always wins. Our light will shine when we can show our love and give it voice. There's a dark force and the sun is rising. There's a dark force, vampires on the run. There's a dark force, the cold is receding. The warm light of love is on her way. Is on her way. Is on her way.
You're listening to The Fresh Toones Show, and today's theme is greed. Here's a recent poem that I wrote about Donald Trump and Elon Musk. It's called The Shaman and Ali. Oligarch was a thief. He lived up on the hill. He spent his days counting coins, could never get his fill. Shaman was his partner, with crime they did fortune, sold slogans, worthless trinkets, amused by those who lose. Together they were quite a pair, they bought a country's soul. They'd baffle with their antics, fed the crowds and sent them home. And when the shelves were empty, with shock they would exclaim, I'm innocent, someone else is all the blame. Well, greed is kind of a dead-end street, and this song called Where Your Treasures Are reminds us to be mindful of where we put our attentions and the things we value.
Where your treasures are, that's where your heart lies. What you value most will occupy your mind's eye. Did you build your house of straw, or did you build your house with sticks? Did you build your home with love, or did you just build it with bricks? 'Cause where your treasures are, that's where your heart lies. What you value most will occupy your mind's eye. Your treasures are, that's where your heart lies. What you value most will occupy your mind's eye. You love the folks you've met, or did you just plain forget? Did you take the time to think? It don't take that long to think, 'cause where your treasures are, that's where your heart lies. What you value most will occupy your mind's eye. Your treasures are, that's where your heart lies. What you value most will occupy your mind's eye. You look down other folks as though they were nothing. Have you seen their tears and wish that you could feel something? 'Cause where your treasures are, that's where your heart lies. What you value most will occupy your mind's eye. Will occupy your mind's eye. Will occupy your mind's eye. Will occupy your mind's eye.
Well, I'm going to end up today's Fresh Toones Show with this song called Until the Bill Comes Due. Hopefully there won't be trillions of dollars of debt coming out of all the shenanigans and tax cuts for the rich and paying tariffs by the middle class. Hopefully that bill that's going to come isn't too big. This song is called Until the Bill Comes Due.
who have no class. The thing we're all just fools until the bill comes due. Until the bill comes due. He spent our money, grew the debt, stored evilness in his cabinet. Said, believe me, I love you, until the bill comes due. The people, they rose up from the deluge of his lies to tell him enough's enough. And now your bills come due. And now your bills come due. Now there are some who sing his praise. No innocence can they claim. May deny they ever knew a thing. On the day the bill came due. On the day the bill came due. On the day the bill came
due. And that's it for the Fresh Toones Show this week. I hope I didn't bum you out too much. I think we can change things around if we work together. Have a good week. Do what you can. So long now. Bye. I want to take a few seconds here just to thank everybody that's been involved with getting Rochester Free Radio up and hopefully contributed to this community station that we have here with a lot of different voices, which is really nice. I'm sure some folks think, well, that's a pretty strange radio show or whatever, but that's what community radio is about sometimes. We've been very fortunate to keep it going. It's a struggle sometimes because it operates with volunteers, and sometimes it's hard for people in their busy lives to be able to volunteer enough to keep something like Rochester Free Radio going. So thanks to all those folks that helped to get it started, and all the radio show producers that spend a lot of time putting their heart and soul into their shows. Thanks for tuning in. Rochester Free Radio, WRFZ 106.3 FM, or stream at rochesterfreeradio.com.